Once upon a time, there was a young monk who had been meditating for many years. Despite his efforts, he found himself unable to overcome his inner demons and weaknesses. One day, he went to Buddha and asked him for guidance. Buddha, being the wise teacher he was, decided to impart his teachings through a story. Buddha said, "My dear disciple, let me tell you a story. Once upon a time, there was a young man who had been blind since birth. One day, he was offered the gift of sight. He was overjoyed at the prospect of seeing the world for the first time. When he finally opened his eyes, he saw a beautiful world full of colors, shapes, and textures. He was amazed at the beauty of the world around him." Buddha paused and asked the disciple, "What do you think the young man did next?" The disciple replied, "He must have been overjoyed to see the world for the first time and must have explored every bit of it." Buddha nodded and continued, "Yes, he did exactly that. Disturbed him. He saw poverty, disease, and suffering. He saw people fighting, animals being slaughtered, and nature being destroyed. He was overwhelmed by the suffering he saw around him. He could no longer enjoy the beauty of the world because he was constantly plagued by the pain and suffering he saw." Buddha paused and looked at the disciple and asked, "What do you think this story teaches us?" The disciple replied, "It teaches us that sight can be a double-edged sword. It can show us the beauty of the world, but it can also show us the ugliness. It can bring us joy, but it can also bring us pain." Buddha smiled and said, "Very true, my dear disciple. Sight is indeed a powerful tool. It can shape our perception of the world and influence our thoughts and actions. It can either bring us happiness or sorrow, depending on how we use it." The young man who was blind since birth did not have any preconceived notions about the world. He was free from biases and prejudices, but when he gained sight, he was influenced by what he saw. His perception of the world changed, and he was no longer able to enjoy its beauty as he did before. Buddha continued, "Similarly, in our lives, we are constantly bombarded by images that shape our perception of the world. We see advertisements that tell us what to buy, movies that influence our beliefs, and social media that dictate our self-worth. If we are not careful, we can be influenced by these images and lose sight of what is truly important." Buddha went on to teach his disciple about the importance of mindfulness and self-awareness. He said, "My dear disciple, the lesson from this story is that we should be mindful of what we see and how it impacts us. We should be aware of our biases and prejudices and try to see the world as it is, without any filters. We should not let our sight cloud our judgment, but use it as a tool for growth and learning." Buddha taught his disciple about the power of perception and how it can shape our reality. He said, "My dear disciple, our perception of the world is not the same as the world itself. It is like a mirror that reflects our internal state of mind. If our mind is clear and free from biases, we will see the world as it is. But if our mind is clouded by our beliefs and prejudices, we will see the world through a distorted lens." Buddha concluded by saying, "My dear disciple, the power of sight is a gift that should be cherished. We should use it to gain knowledge, wisdom, and insight. We should use it to see the beauty in the world and appreciate it. But we should also be aware of its limitations and not let it cloud our judgment. We should strive to see the world as it is, without any filters, and use our sight as a tool for growth and learning." We hope this story has inspired you to be mindful of what you see and how it impacts your life. We would love to hear your thoughts and feedback on this story, so please leave a comment below. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. The Anything is Possible Tribe. For more inspiring stories and teachings from Buddha, have a great day. Stay smile. Namaste.